Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, we've got Segaby flanking in the US battleship Colorado. Matchmaking, well, anytime you see 4 CVs in a game, at least in my opinion, that's there's a lot of potential for ugly.
Battle starts.
In terms of the destroyer threat, got Jervis and Vastras. Not exactly sure how to pronounce that. Sure, I just butchered it. And there are also additional torpedo threats in the form of Leander, York, Scharnhorst, and Gneisenau. If you are not familiar, Colorado is not especially fast. In fact, the US battleship line in general, until you get to North Carolina, is fairly slow. Colorado has pretty hard-hitting guns, but only 8 barrels in a total of 4 turrets. Now, having said that, if it does land shells on the Leander in particular, the Leander is probably going to have some problems. If you've played the game at all, I'm sure you're familiar with the Two Brothers map. It doesn't look like anybody on the friendly team plans to run the gap there between the islands, which is always a possibility. Remains to be seen whether any of the bad guys will be doing that. None of the enemy DDs have been spotted yet. So at Tier 7, the Colorado's got 406mm guns, which do a significant amount of damage. The HE shells can do 5,700 damage each shell, and the AP can do 12,400. Actually, it looked like pretty decent dispersion for Colorado. Now you can see the speed is well, it's not exactly going to set any records. 1 non-pen on the Scharnhorst there. Now Monarch sailed broadside out there and took a little damage. Now he's thinking better of it. He's deciding to get off the corner. Friendly DD, which you can see there, really got beat up. The danger of being plane spotted in a destroyer that doesn't have any smoke. Trying to give enough lead there. That might fall a little behind, but we'll see. Now that is a face full of torpedoes. And those look like Jervis torpedoes, so they certainly have the range. So there's going to be one hit. Friendly Leander has moved out of his smoke. Poor Leander. Wow, enemy North Carolina is running the gap. That's not something you see every day. Segaby reinforces his starboard AA sector for all the difference it'll make. The Leon is turning out. And the bad guys scored the first kill, taking out a friendly Fubuki. Not sure what Segaby's doing here. As soon as he gets back out of this smoke, it's going to become visible. But all the planes are down. The combined AA of one overpen. Combined AA of all these ships took out all the enemy aircraft that time, but meanwhile, friendly California has been sunk. Now the Gneisenau. It's not looking particularly good. Leander would be a good place to put the shells here, because its armor cannot handle anything from this ship. Leander is turning out. Segaby's going to eat another torpedo here. And Citadel on the Leander. It was a nice shot.
The enemy team has taken the lead.
The bad guys have completely rolled up the other side. You can see there's King George, Vesteros, York. Kind of another King George there, although he's pointed north. And the North Carolina in the center. I have no idea how this ends up. I guess we're going to see. I don't think reverse was the answer here. I think maybe I might have run for that island there on the starboard side. Try to just find some cover and then fall back. Cover from torpedoes in particular. And make that DD if he wants to land any more torpedoes have to be spotted. This is a really horrible position to be in a very slow U.S. battleship. You get a large percentage of the enemy team focus firing you, CV focusing you, and your nose into the enemy.
The ship is on fire.
Although these very slow U.S. battleships do corner fairly well, they're very slow, and it takes a long time to get turned around.
Returning to ship. Problem solved.
So that leaves our hero with 5,681 hit points. He's got a heal working, but he still won't have a whole lot of hit points, especially if this CB continues to bird dog him like it looks like he's going to. Got to reinforce that sector. There we go. A little chip damage against the aircraft. It does get off a second drop. Enemy Jervis is chasing right along behind. Have to hope that some of the friendlies will be able to get guns on it. But looks like everybody with guns is focused on the bad guys in the cap. Friendly Furious heading out there to try and spot him.
The enemy team has taken the lead.
Hopefully he will, and not just focus the Scharnhorst. Well, there's the Jervis. You can see it on the minimap now. Now with the storm, there's only, well, there are 8 kilometers of visibility. Otherwise, he would be able to target the Scharnhorst. Looks like he's going to fire only his rear guns. Hopefully that's enough lead there. He does manage to connect, but enemy Gneisenau goes down to the friendly Nagato. That Jervis is just doing a good job of harassing. But the good guys have managed to drag down the division to battleships on the other team. The North Carolina that came through the center and the Gneisenau. There's a shot on Scharnhorst. Scharnhorst was unfortunately well angled, as is the King George at Segaby's 1 o'clock right now. That's 20 aircraft. Now that might hurt a little bit. I think maybe Gorizia was trying to get torps away. Hard to tell. Showing broadside to the Scharnhorst at point blank range. Either torps or guns were going to get him. Gorizia is not a particularly tough ship. That was a very nice shot. Friendly DD is doing his best to sink Segaby, but Segaby gets sunk by the bad guys first. So this is not looking good for the good guys. Now Segaby did tank almost 1.5 million potential damage, primarily because he went nose into the bad guys. Now, one of the things you can do in this ship is you can move to a position where you've got things in range. Enemy Leander goes down to the Monarch. You can move to a position where your guns are in range, and then you can get your nose pointed away from the bad guys. Yeah, this does not look like it's going to end well. Now the Monarch guns should be able to finish off the York, but the York does have very hard-hitting torpedoes, and I think he's turning to be able to get the other side, the torpedoes on the port side away. Oh, there we go. Furious finishes him off. Now if the Monarch repairs here, and then floods from torpedoes or gets a fire from the KGB, he won't have any way to fix that, so he's just going to let this fire burn.
Battle ends in 5 minutes.
And there are the torpedoes from New York. Oh, that was very close. Very, very close. Now, Monarch is, well, he's between the proverbial rock and a hard place. He's got KGB on one side, Leon on the other, and a Ranger at very close range. He's got his guns to the wrong side for the Ranger, and it looks like he's going to try and finish off the KGB. The KGB is angled pretty well. I think if it were me, I'd probably, well, I don't know now. KGB has got some major damage. He might be able to finish him here. KGB goes down. And now he can focus the Ranger. The Ranger may be becoming aware of that. Monarch's just going to let this fire burn. And, you know, if you're keeping score, the good guys have 3 ships, the bad guys have 3 ships. You can see the AA firing, you can see the sparks from the repairs, the heel. Try and aim for the just under the conning tower. Meanwhile, the friendly CVs are double teaming the Leon. Although I can understand the frustration, the Monarch's taken out 3 enemy ships, and I imagine we'll be able to get that count to 4 before this is over. Furious is in a good spot. He's kind of tucked away behind the island there. So is Ranger. So the Leon can't get guns on either of the CVs. And that's number 4 for the Monarch. Hopefully there's no flood here, but we'll see. Yep, no flood. And Leon has got his nose to the CVs, which is going to create quite an opportunity for Monarch here. Although there are more torpedoes on the way, I think he's going to be able to avoid these. And Leon grounded. And he paid for that. Leon firing HE. This is going to be close. Just over a minute left. Leon's still sitting pretty broadside. Yeah, I think Leon's in big trouble here. Enemy CV continues to drop our Monarch. Just a question of whether the Monarch guns here or the Furious Torps are going to get that Leon. One way or the other, he's going to be sunk. Furious Torps. And the good guys are now in the lead. Monarch with 9,404 hit points. Ranger's going to try and get a fire started here. And he does that successfully. Monarch gets off a shot over the corner of the island. little bit of damage there. Well, it looks like the good guys have won this one. Segaby, thank you very much for sending this in. It was fun to watch. Those of you joining me, really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. I'd love to see your comments below, and I'll see you next time.